Okay, we're going to work on the following equations. The first one is x cubed plus x squared equals 9x plus 9. So we're going to factor each side, factoring out the x squared on the left. X cubed divided by x squared is x. X squared divided by x squared is 1. So on the left side, I get x squared times x plus 1. On the right side, I'm going to factor out a 9, and I get 9. X divided by 9 is x. 9 divided by 9 is 1. Let's go ahead and subtract. So I have x squared times x plus 1 minus 9 times x plus 1 is 0. And you will notice these two pieces have a common factor of x plus 1. If I divide out x plus 1, divide this first piece by x plus 1, I'm left with x squared. Minus, divide this piece by x plus 1, and I get 9. So I have x plus 1 times x squared minus 9 is 0. Let's go ahead and factor x squared minus 9. So the first term is x squared, the last term is minus 9. There is no middle term, so it's 0, or if you like, 0x. X squared is x times x. Negative 9 will be negative 3 times positive 3, which you will see. Negative 3x, positive 3x adds up to 0x. So we get x minus 3 times x plus 3. So now we're here. We have x plus 1 times x minus 3 times x plus 3, 0. So x plus 1 is 0, or x minus 3 is 0, or x plus 3 is 0. Finishing this, x equals negative 1, or x equals 3, or x equals negative 3. So my answer, negative 1, 3, negative 3. Three answers. Again, third order, we'll learn that if you have a third order polynomial, it can have 3 distinct solutions. Next up, we have x to the 3/2 equals 8. How do we do that? X to the 3/2 equals 8. Well, there's a couple ways I can do this. I'm going to square both sides first. So x to the 3/2 squared equals 8 squared. X to the 3/2 squared is x to the 6/2, or x to the 3rd. 8 squared is 64. Take the cube root of each side. Cube root of x cubed is the cube root of 64. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64, so x is 4. That's one approach. You really should check it to make sure it works. 4 to the 3/2, 4 to the 1/2 is 2, to the 3rd is 8. Because when you square both sides, sometimes you can introduce bad answers, but that one actually works. Let's do it one other way. X to the 3/2 equals 8. Apply the 2/3 power to both sides. So we have x to the 3/2 to the 2/3 equals 8 to the 2/3. When you raise a power to a power, you multiply exponents. 3/2 times 2/3 is 1. I get x to the 1 is 8 to the 2/3. And maybe you need a calculator to help you with that, which we can go to for sure. Going to the calculator here, and you see I have it right there, 8 to the 2/3. I'll show you one more time. 8 to the 2 divided by 3 indeed gives me an answer of 4. So x equals 4, and then we check it either mentally or with the calculator, so that my answer to that question is indeed 4. Okay, next we have square root of x plus 2 equals x minus 4. Square root of x plus 2 equals x minus 4. We're going to square both sides. When you do that, be careful, because when you square both sides, you may be introducing what we call extraneous roots. So if I square both sides, the square root of x plus 2 squared is just x plus 2. Whereas x minus 4 squared means x minus 4 times x minus 4. So let's multiply that out. X minus 4 times x minus 4. X times x is x squared. Minus 4x minus 4x plus 16. So I get x squared minus 8x plus 16 here. So this is a quadratic equation. I know that because it's x to the power 2. So to solve quadratic equations, most of the time I want them equal to 0. So I will subtract x from both sides, and I will subtract 2 from both sides. On the left side, we have 0 equals x squared, negative 8x minus 1x minus 9x. 16 minus 2 is plus 14. And this now I would like to factor. So I get x squared 14. Then I have minus 9x. So I have x times x minus 7 times minus 2 gives me positive 14x. Minus 7x minus 2x is minus 9x. So we get x minus 7 times x minus 2. So 0 equals x minus 7 times x minus 2. So x minus 7 is 0. Or x minus 2 is 0. So here x is 7 or x is 2, but we must check to make sure our answers actually work. So we plug them into the original. The original question was root x plus 2 equals x minus 4. If I plug 7 in, root 7 plus 2, does that equal 7 minus 4? Root 7 plus 2 does root 9 equals 7 minus 4. Does root 9 equal 3? Yes, it does. So 7 is good. What about 2? Again, my question was root x plus 2 equals x minus 4. Plugging in 2. Does root 2 plus 2 equal 2 minus 4? Does root 4 equal negative 2? The answer to that one is no. So my only answer is 7. 2 we can throw out. 7 is my solution to that equation. Okay, we have another radical equation next, which is a little more challenging. We have the square root of x plus 8. Minus the square root of x minus 2 equals 2. So I have radicals on both sides. I don't like that. I want to add this radical to the other side. So now the question becomes root x plus 8 equals 2 plus the square root of x minus 2. At this point, I want to eliminate the radical, so I'm going to square both sides. Remember, if you do that, you've got to be careful. You might be introducing answers that aren't correct. So root x plus 8 squared is just x plus 8. Over here, we've got to do 2 plus root x minus 2 squared. So let us make a box to do that. What do I have? 2 plus root x minus 2, 2 plus root x minus 2. 2 times 2 is 4. This is 2 root x minus 2. This is also 2 root x minus 2. And root x minus 2 times root x minus 2 is x minus 2. So if I add those together, I get 4 plus 2 root x minus 2 and another 2 root x minus 2 is 4 root x minus 2 plus x minus 2. So 4 minus 2 is 2 plus x plus 4 root x minus 2. That's what that becomes. That's what that right-hand side becomes. Notice 4 minus 2 here is 2. There's your x, there's your 4 root x minus 2. So I get 2 plus x plus 4 root x minus 2. Now we will subtract x and subtract x from both sides first, actually. Maybe I'll do this in stages. And now what do I have? I have 8 equals 2 plus 4 times the square root of x minus 2. Now let's go ahead and subtract 2 from both sides. And I get 8 minus 2 is 6 equals 4 root x minus 2. And let's go to the next page. This is where we left off. 6 equals 4 root x minus 2. Go ahead and square both sides here. 6 squared equals 4 root x minus 2 squared. 6 squared is 36. 4 squared is 16. Root x minus 2 squared is x minus 2. Hope you're following me there. So now I get 36 equals 16x minus 32. So let's add 32 to both sides. And I get 68 is 16x. And then we'll divide both sides by 16. X is 68 over 16, which is 4 1/4. Or if you like, 17 quarters. Now, what do we have to do with that? We need to check by plugging that into our original question. Our original question was root x plus 8 minus root x minus 2. Does that equal 2? I think I'll go ahead and I'll use my graphing calculator to check this. So let's go ahead and jump to the graphing calculator. So I think 4.25 is x. I'm going to say 4.25 store in x. And then what do I want to look at? What was my question again? Root x plus 8 minus root x minus 2. We hope we get 2. Square root of x plus 8 minus square root of x minus 2 and we hope the answer is 2, and it is. So that checks, which tells me then that my solution set is indeed 4.25, or if you want to use fractions, 17 quarters. 4 1/4 is the same thing as 17 quarters. And we have one more question to do. Let's do x to the 4th minus 10x squared plus 9 is 0. To do this, I'm going to introduce a new variable. I'm going to say u equals x squared. If that's the case, u squared is x to the 4th. So rewriting this, I get u squared minus 10u plus 9 equals 0. That needs to be factored. So we will put that in the factor box. And what do we get? U squared here, plus 9 here, minus 10u. So we get u times u is u squared. Minus 9 times minus 1, minus 9u minus 1u gives me minus 10u. So u minus 9 times u minus 1. So u minus 9 times u minus 1 is 0. So u minus 9 is 0, or u minus 1 is 0. U is 9 or u is 1. But what is u? Remember, u is x squared. So we get x squared is 9 or x squared is 1. Take the square root of both sides. Square root of x squared is plus or minus the square root of 9. So x is plus or minus 3 over on this side. Square root of x squared is plus or minus the square root of 1. X is plus or minus 1. So I have 4 answers. What are they? 3, -3, 1, -1.